What if everything that has so far been regarded merely as bitter nostalgia caused by the pandemic was actually nothing more than the opening chapter of a much larger plan? A global scheme carefully arranged over time, quietly, almost undetectably, until it finally leaked through a single simple social media post and shook millions of fans around the world. This is the question now endlessly circling the minds of the global army since a post on the platform X, formerly known as Twitter, appeared without warning and instantly triggered a wave of speculation, emotion, and collective curiosity that has proven hard to contain. Is this nothing more than a product of fans' imagination? Or is it instead the first fragment of a larger puzzle about the future of BTS, and especially Jungkook, that has been tightly kept under wraps all this time? On January 13, 2026, at 1500 hours Greenwich Mean Time, a Jungkook BTS fan account named @Rapperjk uploaded a post that, visually, appeared simple, almost minimalist. There was no long narrative, no explicitly sensational claim, only a short caption that read, "How it started, how it's going." Yet it was precisely this simplicity that ignited an explosion of meaning. Two images were placed side by side, as if inviting anyone who saw them to make a historical, emotional, even philosophical comparison of BTS's journey over the past half-decade. On the left appeared a screenshot of a Variety article dated August 20, 2021, with a headline that still feels painful to this day: BTS cancels world tour due to coronavirus impact. A sentence that, for many ARMY, was not merely news, but a symbol of a collective dream collapsing amid the global uncertainty caused by COVID-19. The time, the Variety article reported the cancellation of the highly anticipated Map of the Soul World Tour, following a surge in coronavirus cases and strict international travel restrictions. For the global music industry, the cancellation was a logical and unavoidable decision. But for fans, especially ARMY who had waited for years to see BTS return to the world stage, it felt like a sudden pause in a symphony that had yet to reach its climax. A tour that was expected to be the ultimate celebration of the Map of the Soul 7 era instead became a symbol of an era that was never truly completed. Then, on the right side of @Rapperjk's post, appeared an image that was emotionally striking in contrast. A poster resembling an official BTS World Tour schedule, complete with the names of all 7 members, RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin V, and Jungkook, neatly arranged, as if affirming that the full BTS lineup was ready to reclaim the global stage. The dates listed on the poster were far from trivial. The tour was set to begin on April 9 to 12, 2026, in Goyang, South Korea, a location laden with symbolic meaning as the birthplace of BTS's global career. From there, the route expanded to major cities around the world, including Los Angeles from September 1 to 6, 2026, Jakarta on December 26 to 27, 2026, Sydney from February 19 to 21, 2027, and a series of other cities spanning multiple continents. At the bottom of the poster appeared a line that felt like both a promise and a challenge to fan expectations. More cities to be announced: 2027 Japan, Middle East, and more, complete with the HYB logo reinforcing a sense of authenticity, despite the absence of any official confirmation from the agency to date. Within hours, the post began to spread. Recorded interaction data: 107 likes, 30 reposts, 3 quotes, 1 reply, and 1,269 views. Might seem modest compared to massive viral moments on global platforms. Yet for the ARMY community, those numbers were merely the surface of a much deeper emotional resonance. The @Rapperjk account, whose bio reads and is known as one of the fan accounts that consistently archives Jungkook's journey, both as a BTS member and as an individual artist whose identity continues to mature. This fact led many fans to wonder, was the post purely a creative fan work, or did it reflect information circulating closer to the source? Reactions from the ARMY community varied, but shared a common thread: a mixture of nostalgia, hope, and caution. One reply from the account @InIsaBubble read, "I see Sydney, it's 2027, but it's on there." A short comment loaded with meaning. On one hand, there was excitement that Sydney, a city often skipped on major tours, finally appeared on the schedule. On the other, there was an awareness that the date still felt far away, as if reminding everyone that the road toward realizing this tour remains long and uncertain. The light-hearted tone of the comment only strengthened the collective atmosphere of ARMY, who have grown accustomed to living between hope and waiting. For many fans, this post was not merely speculation about a concert schedule. It was seen as a symbol of BTS's journey from the darkest days of the pandemic toward the possibility of a far more monumental new era. Since 2022, BTS entered a group hiatus to fulfill each member's mandatory military service. A decision that was emotionally heavy but socially and legally unavoidable. Jungkook, as the youngest member, completed his military service in June 2025, making him a symbolic closer of BTS's military chapter. This fact adds another layer of meaning to the leaked 2026 to 2027 tour schedule. Is it a coincidence that the tour is set to begin shortly after all members return to civilian life? Or is this part of a long-term plan that has been carefully prepared for years? Speculation intensified further when this leak was aligned with earlier rumors, including a Goyang poster that briefly went viral days before it Rapper's post. For some ARMY, the repeated appearance of Goyang as the tour's starting point felt too consistent to ignore. Goyang is not just a city, but a symbol of home, beginnings, and BTS's return to the stage with a complete identity. In this context, the question began to shift from "is this real?" to "if this is real, what is actually being prepared?" Yet behind the euphoria and speculation, there remains a note of skepticism that cannot be ignored. As of now, HYBE has made no official statement regarding a 2026 BTS World Tour. There has been no announcement on Weverse, no confirmation on BTS's official X account, and no verifiable press release. More cautious fans have reminded the community not to rely too heavily on leaks, no matter how convincing the visuals and accompanying narrative may be. In a fandom ecosystem that has repeatedly experienced false hope and misinformation, critical thinking has become a form of emotional self-defense. Even so, one thing is difficult to deny: the symbolic power of this post has successfully reopened a global conversation about BTS, about postponed tours, and about a future that may be far greater than previously imagined. Is this merely the creative humor of a fan, as often happens in digital fandom spaces? Or is it a small fragment of a broader hype strategy, deliberately allowed to circulate publicly to gauge reactions and build expectations? And amid all these questions, one name continues to emerge as the narrative center of gravity: Jungkook. If this tour truly materializes, if the world once again witnesses BTS in its complete formation, will Jungkook, through his deeply transformative personal journey, become the key to a major surprise now in the making? These are the questions now hanging in the air, awaiting official answers that may or may not arrive soon. But one thing is certain: the silence of the post-pandemic era has been broken, and a new chapter in BTS's story appears to be beginning. Slowly, faintly, yet filled with the potential for an emotional explosion that could once again shake the global music world. In the global entertainment industry, particularly in K-pop, information leaks are nothing new. However, leaks that remain etched in the public memory usually share one defining characteristic: they touch the audience's deepest emotions. The @Rapper's post operates precisely at that point. By juxtaposing the 2021 tour cancellation with the alleged 2026 to 2027 tour schedule, the post appears to construct a linear narrative of suffering, waiting, and ultimately the possibility of redemption. This is not merely a visual exercise, it is a construction of meaning. Many ARMY members, perhaps unconsciously, read the post as a symbolic message: what was taken away by the pandemic will be returned by time. Within this context, Jungkook emerges as a central figure who is difficult to ignore. As the youngest member of BTS, he is often positioned as a representation of the group's future. Jungkook's journey from a young trainee to a global icon has been intensively documented by fans and the media alike. His mandatory military service, which concluded in June 2025, is viewed not only as a national obligation but also as a phase of personal transition. When rumors of a world tour began circulating with a timeline closely aligned to the end of Jungkook's military service, many fans started asking bolder questions. Could BTS's comeback be packaged as a new era that is symbolically led by Jungkook? This question is, of course, speculative, but not without emotional grounding. In the years leading up to the hiatus, Jungkook increasingly stood out as a focal point, whether through solo projects, international collaborations, or his ever more dominant vocal presence in BTS's work. In the eyes of some ARMY members, a 2026 world tour, if it truly happens, would be the first stage on which Jungkook appears as an artist who has fully passed into a new phase of personal and professional maturity. In this framework, the leaked tour is not merely about dates and cities, but about a narrative of transformation that, on the other hand, there are equally critical questions that cannot be ignored. Why does the poster appear so polished and detailed? City names, date ranges, even indications of expansion to Japan and the Middle East in 2027 are all presented with a level of precision rarely seen in purely fan-made works. The HYB logo at the bottom of the poster is the most controversial element. For some fans, its presence is seen as visual evidence that strengthens the perception of authenticity. For others, it is precisely this detail that signals the poster as a carefully crafted creative fabrication, produced by a fan with a deep understanding of HYB's official release aesthetics. The tension between these two camps, those who believe and those who remain skeptical, reflects the broader psychological dynamics of the BTS fandom. ARMY is a global community that has been repeatedly tested by uncertainty, ranging from global health crises to military hiatuses. In such conditions, every fragment of information, no matter how small, has the potential to become an emotional anchor. The 2026 tour leak arrives at a moment when longing has reached a saturation point, when the narrative of waiting begins to feel exhausting, and when fans need something to hold on to, even if it may not be real. Interestingly, this phenomenon also highlights how humor and speculation often coexist in fandom spaces. The phrase speculation or humor that accompanies discourse around this leak functions as a form of collective self-protection. By framing expectations as humor, fans seem to say to themselves, "We hope, but we are ready to be disappointed." This is a form of emotional intelligence shaped by long experience with an entertainment industry full of surprises. Meanwhile, HYB's silence only adds fuel to the speculation. In the realm of strategic communication, silence often speaks louder than clarification. Is HYB deliberately refraining from debunking the leak to avoid dampening fan enthusiasm? Or is the leak simply not significant enough to warrant an official response? Or the most provocative question of all, is this silence part of a soft launch strategy, a subtle way to test market reactions before a major announcement? When viewed in a historical context, BTS and HYBE are not newcomers to the art of building anticipation. In the past, many major BTS projects were preceded by vague hints, visual symbols, or small leaks that later proved to align with official plans. This pattern leads some ARMY members to believe that what is happening now is not an anomaly, but part of a long-standing narrative tradition. In that tradition, fans are not merely passive consumers, but active participants who help disseminate, interpret, and amplify the message. Still, the risk of disappointment always looms. Reminders to wait for official announcements via Weverse or BTS's X account are not mere formalities. They reflect a collective awareness that the boundary between hope and reality is often fragile. If this leak turns out to be inaccurate, the emotional wound may not be as deep as the 2021 cancellation, but it could still add another layer of skepticism to the relationship between the fandom and the industry. It is at this point that the story becomes even more compelling. The leaked 2026 BTS tour is not just about a concert schedule. It is a mirror reflecting the current psychological state of ARMY, the strategic dynamics of the entertainment industry, and Jungkook's position as a symbol of the future. Is all of this merely coincidence, woven together by the creativity of a single fan? Or are we witnessing the early stages of a larger narrative deliberately allowed to grow in the public sphere? That question remains suspended, and its answer may ultimately determine how the next chapter of BTS's journey will be written, by the agency, by the media, and by ARMY themselves. As euphoria begins to mix with emotional fatigue, the story of the leaked BTS 2026 tour enters its most decisive phase, the phase in which hope must confront reality head-on. The question now emerging is no longer about who first shared the poster or how polished its design appears, but about how prepared the world and BTS themselves are to welcome the return of a global phenomenon after a long, meaning-laden pause. Is the music world truly ready to be shaken once again by the 7 names that once redefined the concept of a global concert? For ARMY, the image of a concert in Goyang in April 2026 is not merely about stages and songs. It is a symbol of closing a long cycle of waiting, redemption for the years that were lost, and a celebration of the fact that BTS survived the most fragile period in their modern history. From Goyang to Los Angeles, from Jakarta to Sydney, the route listed in the leak feels like a map of global emotion, connecting millions of fans who have so far only met in digital spaces. Each city mentioned carries its own stories, memories, and hopes, making the idea of this tour far greater than a simple sequence of concerts. Yet the reality of the entertainment industry is never as simple as fan emotion. A world tour on the scale of BTS involves extremely complex logistics, long-term planning, and tight cross-border coordination. The fact that HYBE has not confirmed anything serves as a reminder that behind all the speculation, final decisions remain in the hands of corporate structures that calculate risks, profits, and precise timing. In this context, the leak may simply reflect plans that are still fluid, subject to change, and not yet ready to be made public. Amid this uncertainty, Jungkook's name once again becomes the axis of the narrative. As the last member to complete mandatory military service, he is often seen as a symbol of a new beginning. If a world tour is officially announced, many believe Jungkook will play an important role in shaping BTS's post-hiatus image, not as a formal leader, but as a representation of youthful energy that has endured and evolved through major change. The question is Jungkook preparing a major surprise that will alter how the world sees BTS in this new era? Ultimately, the leaked BTS 2026 tour may be remembered as one of two things: the beginning of an official announcement that shakes the world, or merely a digital artifact of a long, hope-filled period of waiting. Whatever the outcome, one thing cannot be denied. A simple post from a fan has succeeded in reopening a global conversation, reviving collective emotion, and reminding everyone that BTS, even in silence, still possesses the power to move the world.